Yo, 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 what's good, YouTube? It is your boy Mendoza back at it again with another Plus 48 Productions tutorial. Today, we are going to go over the mix bus. Some fun stuff. Last week, if you missed out on part 1, we went over how to import session data into Pro Tools from another session that someone sent you. We went over how to set the tempo, setting up auxes, and we also went over how to enhance a stereo track that someone sends you from a download or MP3 and you don't have full access to the instrumental multi-tracks. Today we're going to go over the mix bus process that I went over in order to achieve the sound that I was looking for before I started mixing the vocals in this track by Artificial Christian. Once again, politics as usual. I'll go ahead and drop their link down below. Once again, if you like what they do, check them out. So I want to go ahead and kind of just go over what we did with the beat last time. And if you are interested in what we did last time, go ahead and click the link and it will take you directly to part 1 of the series. So I'm gonna go ahead and play the beat real quick on how we processed it. So there's slight level change, but we were okay with that. The beat really just got brought forward. The kick drum and the snare really right in your face. And the mix bus process actually takes it a step further. So let's get right into that. I'm going to play it without anything, and I'll kind of go through what I did.
Budget out of balance, but it's handle on my deficit. Like we up in DC and I'm writing on the desk, yeah. Legislating love, taking precedent on precedence. Battling the plague where the pistols are the pestilence. 1,600 residents, but heaven ain't on Pennsylvania. When that's where the crown and the losers better.
Big difference. So before I start mixing the vocals, I want to get the mix as close as possible to being done. So I don't have to process the vocal as much. So I started off with the Slate Digital compressor from the VBC. It's the FG Mu. Really nice compressor. Adds a lot of like this mid-range that I kind of liked, and it's pretty gritty. So I'm not hitting it too crazy. If you look right here, I'm gonna bypass this. I'm pushing it up 2.4 decibels, and then I'm bringing it back about 3 decibels. So I'm kind of pushing the compressor a little bit to get into this threshold a little quicker, but then I'm bringing back the makeup gain because I don't want it to be louder. I just want it to give it that color. If you notice right here, my attack time is right up the middle. It's pretty medium attack, and then I have the fastest release possible. Now the most important thing right here is this high pass filter. The high pass filter is at 120, so everything below 120 hertz is not being compressed, but everything above 120 hertz is being compressed. So the kick drum, the bass, all that stuff is not going to trigger this compression, and that's what I wanted because I wanted to bring everything forward as far as the vocal and stuff like that. So check it out, before and after.
Budget out of balance, but it's handle on my deficit. Like we up in DC and I'm writing on the desk, yeah. Legislating love, taking precedent on precedence. Battling the plague where the pistols are the pestilence. 1,600 residents, but heaven ain't on Pennsylvania. When that's where the crown and the losers better mark a king. Wait, only online though, where the fake news is final. The racial tension's so old, they go up on the vinyl. Comment sections ain't mono, we mono. Let's get the face in. Let's bring the junk up to the surface like I'm cleaning out my basement.
Alright, so you notice that there is a slight level change and that it actually gets a little bit lower than it was, but that's okay because I'm going to bring back that volume once we get going. So next I have it going into the virtual mix bus, and then a little bit of EQ. First the virtual mix bus.
Budget out of balance, but it's handle on my deficit. Like we up in DC and I'm writing on the desk again. Legislating love, taking precedent on precedence. Battling the plague where the pistols are the best.
Just bringing it everything forward and kind of creating a little bit of depth. And then I went ahead and added a little bit of EQ, 15K. Like, all these increments are very small. If you take a look, it should tell us 1.2, 1.6, 1.8, 1.2. So nothing too drastic is going on. Just kind of certain frequencies that I really liked as a whole. I kind of wanted to give them a little bit more life. And then I drew this back about 2 decibels after adding a little bit. So check this out. I'm going to before and after this EQ, and then as it's playing, I'm going to go ahead and do the different bands. I'm going to bypass the different bands so you could hear what's kind of going on in each one. Check it out.
Budget out of balance, but it's handle on my deficit. Like we up in DC and I'm writing on the desk again. Legislating love, taking precedent on precedence. Battling the plague where the pistols are the pestilence. 1,600 residents for heaven ain't on Pennsylvania. When that's where the crown and the losers bear the mark of Cain. Wait, only online though, where the fake news is final. The racial tension's so old, they go up on a vinyl. Comment sections ain't mono, we mono, let's get the facing. Let's bring the junk up to the surface like I'm cleaning out my basement. Just erasing in the sunlight, Mr. City 48 waiting. Lord, is that image or an alien? Then again, immigrants, terrorists, drug abuse, derelicts. Do they get a chair at the table of the bridegroom? Stand for 'em, built to ride, roller coaster tycoon. Yo, budget out of balance, but it's handle on my deficit. Like we up in DC and I'm writing on the desk again. Legislating love.
My favorite 2 are probably the low mid frequencies and the low frequencies, because it just brings out that roundness and that oomph that we're always looking for. So I found that it worked best for this mix to do a 400 and 200, and kind of just brings out that bass and like his vocal, that power in his vocal a little bit. You could tell that on this virtual mix bus that I was hitting it kind of hard at certain times, but I was okay with that after all. So on this mix, I did a lot of saturation. So first you saw the virtual mix bus, and then I was hitting this one just a little bit until I was hitting about 0 on the VU meter. You could see that I was just at normal, 30 IPS, FG9. That's what I thought sounded best. And then I was on the half 2 track. So before and after.
Budget out of balance, but it's handle on my deficit. Like we up in DC and I'm writing on the desk again. Legislating love, taking precedent on precedence. Battling the plague where the pistols are the pestilence. 1,600 residents for heaven ain't on Pennsylvania. When that's where the crown and the losers bear the mark of Cain. Wait, only online though, where the fake news is final.
Again, just enhancing the vocal, bringing it forward a little bit before we even start mixing any of the vocal. Just getting that roundness and that fullness right off the bat. Now, my thought process behind this next plugin was I really like this plugin because it helps bring loudness to it without actually limiting, because it's a saturation plugin, so you can add volume, but it kind of rounds the transients instead of just cuts them off like a brick wall limiter. This plugin is actually super dope. It is a by Softube. If you don't have it, you should definitely get it, especially since it's free. It's a really good plugin to have, and it does a great job. So basically what I did here is I wanted to bring some volume because I had in mind that I wanted to master this track inside the mix. So in the part 4 series, I'm going to kind of get into what I did to master this track. This is just setting me up to have a better master and get closer to that loudness of the master that I'm looking for. So before and after.
Budget out of balance, but it's handle on my deficit. Like we up in DC and I'm writing on the desk again. Legislating love, taking precedent on precedence. Battling the plague where the pistols are the pestilence. 1600 residents, but heaven ain't on Pennsylvania. When that's where the crown and the losers bear the mark of Cain. Wait, only online though, where the fake news is.
So what this is doing is kind of giving you a perceived loudness. If we look at this right here, watch this meter. It doesn't change drastically.
Budget out of balance, but it's handle on my deficit. Like we up in DC and I'm writing on the desk again. Legislating love, taking precedent on precedence. Battling the plague where the pistols are the pestilence. 1600 residents, but heaven ain't on Pennsylvania. When that's where the crown and the losers bear the mark of Cain. Wait.
So the peaks are like hitting around the same spot, but it's bringing up the RMS level, which is kind of giving you a perceived loudness that we like. Now you have to be careful with this plugin and plugins like it, because if you push them too hard, then you will get into distortion really quickly. So check this out. I'm going to show you kind of what I mean. This light right here will kind of light up when it starts to clip. So let's kind of destroy it.
Budget out of balance, but it's handle on my deficit. Like we up in DC and I'm writing on the desk again. Legislating love, taking precedent on precedence. Battling the plague where the pistols are the pestilence. 1600 residents, but heaven ain't on Pennsylvania. When that's where the crown and the losers.
So when I'm mixing that in, that's what I like to do. I kind of like to go into distortion, see where I could put as far as I could push it, and then kind of draw it back to like a nice median and see where I like it. And then lastly, I just had a little imager on it, but I'm actually not doing much, but I'm actually narrowing the stereo width of it to keep it in phase. Check it out.
Budget out of balance, but it's handle on my deficit. Like we up in DC and I'm writing on the desk again. Legislating love, taking precedent on precedence. Battling the plague where the pistols are the pestilence. 1600 residents, but heaven ain't on Penn.
Just kind of keeping everything together, tightening up everything. So I'm going to go ahead and before and after all the mix bus processing.
Budget out of balance, but it's handle on my deficit. Like we up in DC and I'm writing on the desk again. Legislating love, taking precedent on precedence. Battling the plague where the pistols are the pestilence. 1600 residents, but heaven ain't on Pennsylvania. When that's where the crown and the losers bear the mark of Cain. Wait, only online though, where the fake news is final. The racial tension's so old, they go up on a vinyl. Comment sections ain't mono, we mono. Let's get the facing. Let's bring the junk up to the surface like I'm cleaning out my basement. Just erasing in the sunlight, Mr. City 48. Waiting. Lord, is that image or an alien? Then again,
night and day, guys. We just see that it just brings the mix to life right off the bat. And like I said, we haven't even done anything to the vocal. That's just raw, dry, and how it was recorded. So what we learned here is just kind of just be subtle in the things that you do. Yes, all these plugins are cool. Yes, they do certain things, but be subtle with everything. If you're going to push these plugins, make sure you're pushing them in a artistic way and a musical way so that it sounds good. So if you have any other questions about it, my mix bus process and what my thoughts are behind it, go ahead and shoot a comment in the. If you have any other questions, go ahead and if you have any other questions, feel free to hit me up. Like, comment, share. I hope that you learned something. Part 3 will be how we mix the vocals and the effects that we had. So, till then, guys, have a good one. Plus 48 Productions. Vibe with me. Peace out.
Yeah, so then we gotta get into it, man. Budget out of balance, but it's handle on my deficit. Like we up in DC and I'm writing on the desk again. Legislating love, taking precedent on precedence. Battling the plague where the pistols are the pestilence. 1600 residents, but heaven ain't on Pennsylvania. When that's where the crown and the losers bear the mark of